If you thought that this government's net zero agenda has gone too far, or even Sadiq Khan's ULEZ in London, well, wait for Keir Starmer's Labour government, because they got much bigger plans that will destroy this country. Imagine seeing something, a policy idea, that is extremely unpopular and think, maybe I should put it in my manifesto and multiply it by 10. This is what Starmer is doing with certain measures like ULEZ, the ultra low emission zones, the clean air zones, low traffic neighborhoods, 15-minute cities, and is going too far with it. So the next Labour government that is highly likely to have at this point, because the Tories are going to be punished, we're going to have ULEZ style zones popping up across the country. So all these issues that we've been talking about on this channel on a regular basis about Greater London or Bristol, Birmingham, Edinburgh, Glasgow, many other places, usually major cities, well, we're going to have this now everywhere with Prime Minister Keir Starmer, if he ever gets into power. So one of the issues that we now have is that they've got these draft plans and it's quite detailed, but I'm going to wait to get my hands on the actual document. These draft plans are going to replicate London's clean air zone nationwide. They're being considered by Labour as a party as it built its election manifesto. I mean, who thought this would be a good idea, considering the Labour Party themselves have a number of politicians, whether local councillors or MPs in Greater London, who are also angry at Sadiq Khan. This is also giving more ammo to Sadiq Khan to feel more self-righteous, saying, well, if I have the backing of the central government under Keir Starmer as Prime Minister, then I could do whatever I want. Now, the next mayoral elections are coming up at some point, but if he wins that election because he wants to stand again, he's more like President Xi or Putin. He just does. He wants to keep standing and standing and standing. He doesn't want to retire. He wants to keep going. And he says, well, it's probably going to make it even easier to have one of his men in Downing Street. Now, an internal Labour document has been revealed and leaked that one of the key transport policies being looked at could be part of next year's manifesto, and there was that to support the principle of clean air zones in cities. The plan stated that these would be supported only if they were phased in carefully. And they were just a transition. Okay, so this is quite interesting. But firstly, it's an 86-page draft policy, so they actually paid a lot of attention to it, and it's already been leaked. So I don't know if it's been self-leaked to indirectly brief the papers and the media to talk about it, or someone was angry. But they say we will be carefully transitioning it into their local communities. But they said the same thing about the low traffic neighborhoods and ULEZ in general. They said it's going to be carefully transitioned. We will do a trial, we will do a study, we will do consultation, and then they ignored the result and outcome of every single one of them. And at times, they accelerated the trial and turned it into a permanent measure in certain cities in this country. There is no accountability. You cannot believe any promises that these guys make. Now, Stephen Edgington from The Telegraph made a very good video, a series of interviews, went around and then talked to British people about what they think of this problem.
But I do know it's going to make an awful difference to people that can't really afford to change their cars or pay the daily charge just to mainly go to work, which will be me, myself. That's exactly what I've got to do. So I've got to get rid of my car. So obviously it doesn't meet the ULEZ emissions, whatever they are, restricted.
That's the biggest problem. It's sad to see it's not just like commuters who work in offices, small businesses and high streets are going to be completely destroyed.
So I've basically got to try and buy a new car just to come to work.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's going to hurt local high streets. I think just hearing that's even going to come to Hatch End, look at the businesses round here anyway, it's difficult to park, and this is going to make it even worse for small businesses like Anna's got with her nail shop.
So the sad reality is, I'm glad that Stephen managed to find these people, but there are still a lot of people out there who are not aware of what's going on. There's a lot of people who don't even follow the news. You don't have to watch the news all the time, but this is how the establishment get things done. They know that some people want to remain ignorant because they got other problems in life. They want to remain politically ignorant when it comes to news. and they just keep doing things without permission or consent.
We have to use our cars on a daily basis, and most of the people that work here are coming in and out of the area on a daily basis. So yes, it will. It's very difficult for people to start looking at changing cars.
People can't really afford to scrap their cars and buy new ones the way the things are with the economy and everything.
Yeah.
Is the ULEZ expansion going to impact your business?
Definitely.
Definitely. Of course it's going to. And it's not, we've already talked about on this channel as well over the last couple of weeks, how these sort of measures are not just going to affect some old cars. It's going to affect those who don't even live in the area. It's going to affect those who don't even have a car. Because this is a tax on the whole society. Everything will be affected by this. And the prices, when it comes to high street shops and your corner shops and everything else, will increase as well. But there's no real opposition, apart from some obviously local authorities in London who are fighting back. There's a court case in a couple of months in July to try to stop the implementation of the expansion, which will be in August. And we have some mayoral candidates like Howard Cox from Reform UK who want to become the next London mayor. He wants to actually stand on the platform of fully scrapping ULEZ. We got some Tory candidates saying they want to stop the ULEZ expansion, but Howard Cox says we just need to completely get rid of ULEZ and obviously cut crime and ditch Khan. It's highly unlikely that Howard Cox will win because that's not how elections work in London. But there is a possibility of the public being sick and tired of both Sadiq Khan and the Tories. So if Reform UK managed to campaign the way the Brexit Party did in 2019, when the Brexit Party managed to win in London in the Euro elections, although that was very different because that was the Euro elections. It wasn't a real election. It was the European Parliament, and it was a massive protest vote against Theresa May. But can we say the same about the London mayoral election? I don't know. There is a bit of hope left that we could get rid of Sadiq Khan, but you need to have a good candidate. And I don't think London wants a Tory candidate. You want to have an independent candidate who gets all the attention, the proper traction for the campaign, get the grassroots involved, get a lot of manpower, get the media, get new media, get everybody to actually promote a good, sound policy program. So we need an independent candidate to actually get this done. If you know anybody, let me know. There might be someone nearby. Yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.